Welcome to the government news brief for Monday, December 21, 2015. In the news, hundreds of Guyanese get the opportunity to have their concerns addressed, the government to advertise with cruise lines to boost the tourism sector, and more advocacy centers set up to tackle child abuse. With these and other stories, I am Azeem Khan. Hundreds of Guyanese responded to the government's Meet the Public engagement. Those who attended were given an opportunity to register complaints and concerns with ministers of the government. Following the minister's public day at the Square of the Revolution, Gina spoke with the Minister of State. Here is that report.
Minister of State Joseph Harmon led the delegation of government ministers at the Meet the Public Day on December 18 at the Square of the Revolution. He believes it was a success as some of the issues raised were addressed immediately.
Others would be sent to the various departments or to government ministers who have direct responsibility for those matters. But we've actually taken the information, taken the complaints, whatever the complaint is, and we interviewed the persons, found out what were the specific issues that are affecting them, and those which we could not deal with, we will pass them on to the relevant ministers, and we actually give them a time when we will get back to them.
The engagement saw more than 300 Guyanese from Georgetown and its environs participating. They were given individual attention by an official of the state.
I think this is a very good initiative because a lot of people, like grassroots people, they do not have the opportunity to actually reach the ministers and so on. But this venture is very good. You can come, get a number. You can reach close up with the person, with the ministers and so on, and you can talk your problem that you have. Because a lot of people have a lot of problems, and they do not have the opportunity in order to get into the office to speak to the ministers then because they are so busy. But this venture, I think, is very good, and I think they should continue, maybe every month.
Discussing my community's problem with the Minister of State, there appears to be some positive response, and the active part of it is very forthcoming. And I believe that I will see success coming out of the discussion we had.
I'm very pleased with the change that has been made, and I think this initiative is a very good initiative whereby the government meets the people and so the people can express exactly what they need. And I think this is so good, because not in too many places these things are happening.
President David Granger delivered opening remarks at the engagement. The president has committed that his government will continue such meetings on a regular basis and in all other parts of the country. For the Government News Brief, I am Shanta Gobind reporting.
The Bank of Guyana celebrated its 50th anniversary under the theme, Promoting Financial Development for Guyana's Prosperity. Here is a look at what took place at the celebrations last Saturday.
The establishment of the Bank of Guyana on October 15, 1965, was a significant occasion in Guyana's history. It represented the creation of an enduring and prominent symbol of Guyana's sovereignty and nationhood status.
The bank continued over the years to foster monetary stability and financial sector growth. Its role has broadened to include regulation and supervision of the financial sector. To complement the work, a number of financial sector reforms were and are being undertaken to further strengthen and modernize the financial sector.
Minister of Finance Winston expressed appreciation to the managers and staff of the bank as he reflected on the work and achievements of the bank over the past years.
The Central Bank of Guyana have seen the emergence of an institution that has aided successive ministers of finance in guiding and managing the country's financial system. Each of you here tonight, and many before you, have played meaningful roles in building the bank's capacity as a supervisory and regulatory authority. And I thank you and those before you for your contribution towards realizing a stronger financial institution.
Prime Minister and First Vice President Moses Nagamootoo was also in attendance. He reflected briefly on the reasons for establishing the institution 50 years ago.
I'd like to pay tribute to Chelly Jagan, whose idea led to the founding of the Bank of Guyana 50 years ago, and who we should remember because he thought the banks were not there, particularly the central bank, to hand out money for loans that you secure locally and add into loans that have been accrued internationally.
The role of the Bank of Guyana is to act as a central bank of the country. Its primary purpose is to formulate and implement monetary policy so as to achieve and maintain price stability. The other major purpose is to foster a sound, progressive, and an effective financial system. For the Government News Brief, I'm Shanta Gobind reporting.
In order to boost the tourism sector, the government is looking at advertising Guyana as a worthy destination to varying cruise lines. This was disclosed by Tourism Minister Hughes when the cruise vessel Minerva docked in Port Georgetown. Lowe reports.
Tourism Minister Hughes plans to do some aggressive marketing of Guyana as a tourist destination. When the cruise ship Minerva docked at Guyana National Shipping Corporation wharf on December 18, the minister disclosed that she will be targeting cruise lines. The Minerva had 181 tourists on board who were eager to see Georgetown.
It's an international marketing program, and we have deliverables that we want to do specifically for this target market. So there are a couple of cruise magazines that we want to be able to put the ads in, and then also we've been speaking with the cruise lines directly, because the important thing we need to do is to make sure that they put us in their plan of where they're taking the trips to.
Additionally, the minister is considering having special wharfs and docks built which can accommodate cruise ships.
But really, if we want to up the game, we will need to provide special facilities. And at those facilities, I'd actually like to see us be able to allocate a space where the craft people would be able to have a display, our indigenous people, so that more of the monies can trickle through different sectors of the economy. So yes, we definitely would want to bring, prepare the requisite infrastructure. This is not the ideal situation.
Hughes said social media will also be used to assist in showcasing this country as efforts continue to promote Guyana's tourism sector. For the Government News Brief, Lowe reporting.
In the battle against child sexual assault, the Child Care Protection Agency of the Ministry of Social Protection, working with its non-governmental partners, has been able to support the creation of 3 additional advocacy centers. More in this Paul McAdam report.
Centers have now been established in regions 2, 3, 4, and 5 that will support a multidisciplinary theme approach to the battle against child sexual abuse. These centers establish a safe, child-friendly, neutral, and confidential location that bring together in one place all professionals involved in the investigation and treatment of suspected child abuse cases. These centers also provide support to victims, witnesses, and their families.
For the year, we were able to, working with the NGOs, establish 3 more centers, and particularly looking in terms of doing the forensic interview for the children. So the children who are sexually abused, they only have to tell the hurt and the pain just once. It's recorded, so the police can hear it again. Whoever is in need of it, the key stakeholders, they have it recorded, so that the victim really does not have to tell the story over and over.
It is hoped that with the operations of these centers, there will now be a more seamless coordinated support for victims of sexual abuse and the minimizing of the system-induced trauma for these children, youth, and their families.
The center, they also look at the follow-up work for the victims, the therapeutic work, so that the victims, giving them a chance to heal. Sexual abuse is such devastating to a child, and they need help to deal with the whole trauma. So the centers are able to do that, work with the children for the therapeutic services that is needed following the abuse.
The advocacy centers are manned by the NGOs, whilst Child Care and Protection Agency officials handle the referral of cases to the center.
Indigenous youths will now receive the government's full support in their sporting endeavors. Youths preparing for the International Federation of Football Games are receiving backing at present. More in this report.
The Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs is focusing on the development of sport in hinterland communities. In this regard, the ministry is not only looking at building on the youth's natural abilities and skills for friendly competition, but also at gearing them for national and international games. During a visit to the Rupununi, Junior Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Valerie Garrido Lowe, engaged members of the Guyana Football Federation to be part of the team. This allowed the team members to have a first-hand view of the youth's abilities.
I invited GFF Technical Director Claude Bolton to accompany us so he can see firsthand in every village the level of talent and also the challenges that these footballers face, in developing themselves, their game, and how hard it is for them to reach. Although they may have the talent, we don't see their faces on the national team. So I always say that, we don't have a national team if we can't see our indigenous people reflecting on the national team.
Apart from pushing for development in football, in these communities, the ministry will also be looking at the advancement of other games, including cricket.
It's not only about football. We have persons with the interest of cricket. We used to play cricket here when I used to be there. So it's just that it is expensive, but it's not a case where we cannot help the West Indies to get cricketers from India. We also have good cyclists. We have athletes.
Oh my gosh.
We have had a number of athletes who have never gone beyond the national sports. Good athletes, but there was never the support. So we are, and even boxing, we could play a great role here. And this is all giving the young people an opportunity to excel and prove themselves.
In order to provide avenues for athletes to practice their skills, several grounds in the regions have received support from the government. For this government news brief, Shivani Rampasad reporting.
That has brought us to the end of the government news brief for Monday, December 21, 2015. Check out our other programs on our website. You can also find us on Facebook and YouTube. Remember to send us your Guyana Nice photo. Here is ours.